Working with the projected $17.5 billion state surplus, DFL lawmakers began crafting a revised state budget that includes $4 billion in tax relief over the next 4 years. Joining us in the studio to highlight the tax relief measures is the chair of the Senate Tax Committee, Senator Ann Rest. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You're very welcome.
Governor Tim Walz's initial tax proposal this session called for large one-time tax rebates of up to $2,000 for families and $1,000 for individuals. In the end, it was a smaller amount that passed, with some families being eligible for as much as $1,300 and individuals $260. During good fiscal times, are rebates good tax policy?
This year, I think they are. Not all the time, but we had an extraordinary one-time surplus, and Minnesotans were telling us that they wanted to share in that blessing. And we did it in a number of ways. Certainly the rebate was a one-time effort that people will be receiving this year. There's a caveat, they have to have filed a tax return in 2021, but then, as you described, there's a rebate for married people, for single people, and then there's an extra boost for families that have children. And we're hoping that those dollars get out sooner rather than later, so it can help with school expenses perhaps next year, next school year, and just putting groceries on the table. We're not talking about people taking European vacations on this money, although they may, some may. But certainly the necessities that they can get some relief from, I think, is was one of the highlights of the bill.
During his One Minnesota budget bill signing, Governor Walz underscored the tax provision that would help lift children out of poverty through a child tax credit. Will that tax credit be annual relief only, or could it be monthly?
Well, I believe going forward now, the state and the Department of Revenue is really not equipped to do a monthly deposit into people's bank accounts or to send them a monthly check. But the most important thing about it is that, unlike the rebates, the child tax credit is ongoing. It is built into the budget. It's just not 2023. It's throughout that whole planning cycle that we have enough revenues to enthusiastically support that program. Governor Walz thinks, and I would agree with him, that is the signature item in his budget that we were able to pass. It was his #1 priority. It became mine, and I'm really determined that it not be diminished in the years ahead.
Republican legislators and some DFLers this session pushed hard for the full income tax subtraction on Social Security benefits for all Minnesota beneficiaries. In the end, it is estimated that 76% of Minnesotans with Social Security benefits will not pay taxes on that income. Why did legislators ultimately decide to exclude family incomes above $100,000 and individuals above $78,000 for that subtraction?
Well, the folks who have earnings above $100,000 are not totally excluded. The phase-out begins at $100,000 for married couples and is not exhausted until $140,000. And by that time, you really are dealing with just about 98%, 97% of the people who receive Social Security income. It's a very complicated system. You have to know everything about every individual to be able to predict how this bill is going to affect them. But I think we made we made a promise early on in the Senate tax bill that it was going to be at $100,000, phasing out to $140,000, and we kept that promise. And the House tax chair did not originally. Was not originally as interested as Senate Democrats, but she agreed to it and she kept her word as well, and I respect that very, very, very much.
The state provides aid to local communities to help them finance their services, and many communities depend heavily on that aid. Unique in this year's bill is the inclusion of aid to tribal nations. Is the state entering a new partnership with Indian communities similar to its partnership with local governments?
Well, I certainly hope so. I was so impressed with Representative Gomez's enthusiasm, commitment, and passion to the local or to the tribal aid. And we do now have another government level, sovereign government that Minnesota can be partners with in terms of supporting their government services. And I'm going to be exploring that even more coming up with a meeting next week, actually, with Representative Gomez and Senator Kunesh, who are both very, very interested in tribal governments and tribal leadership and how we can be partners. So I'm very pleased with that. I was happy that we had a very open discussion in the conference committee and that the public could be informed about exactly what that was going to be.
Both DFL and Republican lawmakers praised the tax bill for providing aid to local communities in their efforts to improve public safety. How significant is this aid in helping Minnesota's largest cities address the crime problems that they're facing?
Well, I think it's not just about crime. Quite frankly, public safety is a much broader term than that. I myself have 5 cities in my Senate district, and I am visiting with the police chiefs and the city managers of all 5 of them, asking how they're going to use that aid. City of Plymouth is getting about $2 million. This is a little bit different than the city of Minneapolis, but about $2 million. And just exploring with them the kinds of things, services that they can provide both to their officers and to the public at large, particularly efforts to train professionals to de-escalate crisis situations so that they do not end in a tragedy. And I was very happy to make sure that in the Senate tax bill, we had $300 million for that. That's what we ended up with. In the House tax bill to start with, they had 0. So it was a heavy lift, let me tell you. And I fought for it, and I was happy that in the end it was extremely well received by both the House and the Senate conferees.
And finally, before we go, Minnesotans also pay property taxes to their local communities. How does this new law address the state's efforts to hold down property taxes, specifically for farmers, seniors, renters, and homeowners?
Well, we put in the bill a number of provisions to lower the effect of the valuation of people's property on which their taxes are, the homeowners are imposed. We did a lot of work in low-income housing and what's so-called 4D, which is low-income apartment housing. That's been a focus of mine for years. But the signature policy there was the way in which we are now going to deal with the renter's credit. And this was a proposal last year from then Representative Marquardt, now Commissioner, And Representative Gomez this year continued that, and I became a cheerleader for it. It brings the opportunity to benefit from the renter's credit into the current tax year, so 2023, on your 2023 tax form that allows you to take that credit, not in a separate check in September, but against your income taxes. And I believe that is going to be another possibility for middle income, lower middle income families to benefit from this wonderful surplus that we have.
Senator Ann Rest, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome.